This week on Spoke TV, the University of Waterloo has been ranked one of the country's top schools.
We've got a real focus on transformational research and entrepreneurship and experiential education with our world-famous co-op program.
And a look at the rise of popular young adult fiction novels being made into blockbusters. Plus, what are the possible benefits of consuming insects?
Insects are actually a highly productive way of producing protein.
Hi, I'm Kale Walters.
And I'm Kristen Van Eck, and this is Spoke TV, your source for local weekly news produced by second-year journalism broadcast students from Conestoga College.
The organization Driving Ontario is raising the distracted driving fines as a way of combating the problem. Laura Rossi tells us how people are reacting to these changes.
The Ontario Provincial Police are calling it the #1 killer on roads, even more than impaired driving. Distracted driving can take all forms, and the fine for such a danger has been raised. Chief Justice Amary Nicolau of the Ontario Court signed the order for the charge to be raised from $155 to $280, including surcharges. If a driver decides to fight the ticket in court, they can face fines of up to $500. Wendy Schmiedendorf thinks that the fine change is a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. As I said, I don't think it's enough of a deterrent. I think there should be bigger than that. Something that makes people stop and go, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Francis Carevia explains why he thinks it's harder to just put the phone down.
I think it's harder just because it's so ingrained into us that when we get a response to a text message, we get a notification, we check it instantly, whether we're walking, whether we're sitting down, lying down. We just always do. It's ingrained in us. So while it's no different when we're driving. We hear it go off, we feel the vibration, we feel the need to go check immediately.
It was found in an international study that 20 to 30% of all collisions were due to distracted driving last year. In a report on OPP patrolled roads for 2013, 44 deaths were speed-related, 57 were related to impaired driving, and distracted driving was at the top with 78 deaths. For Spoke TV, I'm Laura Rossi.
The University of Guelph has recently announced the planned closure of 2 of their campuses, but a last-minute deal by French colleges in Ottawa and Sudbury will keep the Alfred campus open. Kelly Burns explains.
University of Guelph will close 2 of its satellite campuses in Eastern Ontario to reduce a large budget shortfall. The Alfred and Kemptville campuses will not be accepting new students in the fall of 2014. Lori Bona-Hunt, Director of Communications and Public Affairs at U of G, explains the reason for the closure.
Like all universities, we're looking at ways to do things more productively, more efficiently. And the programs that are offered, especially at Kemptville, many of them are duplicated programs. In other words, they're available on our Guelph campus, available at our Ridgetown campus. So this is really a decision that was made to improve efficiency and maintain quality.
It costs U of G at least $6.9 million a year to run the remote pair. Affected programs and research projects will likely be moved here at University of Guelph's main campus in Guelph. Brianna Wright, a University of Guelph student, tells us what she thinks is going to happen when they close those campuses.
I know, students bring a lot of revenue into town businesses, restaurants, stuff like that. So the town, which is already the towns that are already pretty small, they'll probably be losing a lot of business now that the students aren't going to be there.
At least 100 jobs will be lost between both campuses, although some faculty may be able to switch to the main campus. For Spoke TV, I'm Kelly Burns.
Every year, hopeful students have to make the tough decision of which post-secondary school is best for them. Steve Rodzinski discovers that one of the top universities in the country isn't all that far from home.
According to Maclean's 2014 Canadian University Rankings Guide, the University of Waterloo places 3rd, just behind Simon Fraser and Victoria. The comprehensive guide takes into account the amount of research activity and the range of programs offered by a university at the undergraduate and graduate levels.
While the top Canadian universities may be losing a bit of ground to their American counterparts, the University of Waterloo still has 7 programs within the top 100 in the world, among them being computer science and engineering.
Director of Media Relations at the University of Waterloo, Nick Manning, gives his take on why the university ranks so close to the top.
I think there's a number of reasons for that. Firstly, you look at our recently released strategic plan, and we've got a real focus on transformational research and entrepreneurship and experiential education with our world-famous co-op program. I think when you put those things together, you start to see a picture of why Waterloo is rightly seen as one of Canada's leading universities.
A couple of economics students studying at Waterloo explain that it's not only the programs offered, but the social aspect that make it a top school.
I basically picked Waterloo because of the international student community, and I think that really adds a lot to the campus, is meeting people from all over. As well, the professors here are pretty much second to none. There's some really great professors on campus.
For Spoke TV, I'm Steve Rudzinski.
Coming up next, Spoke TV finds out if breast is best or if formula feeding might be the right choice for some new families. Whether you drink them for staying awake or just because you like the taste, energy drinks may have a few extra health complications. Steve Spar brings us more on this new study.
Do you consume energy drinks more than once a week? Well, a recent study conducted by the University of Waterloo and Dalhousie University shows a possible link between energy drinks and substance abuse, mental health issues, and sensation-seeking behavior in some of the 8,000 young adults surveyed. There has been other research done on the caffeine content of energy drinks. Cassandra McCrory, Masters of Science candidate from the University of Waterloo, explains some of the adverse effects of caffeine.
Can lead to insomnia, and then caffeine at higher doses will can cause convulsions, seizures, cardiac complications, and in certain cases we've even seen reports of death.
This study is not suggesting that someone who consumes a lot of energy drinks will become depressed or abuse substances, nor is it saying the opposite of that. Drew Harvey, coordinator of the Fitness and Health Promotions Program at Conestoga College, gives a concise answer about this connection concluded in the study.
Are following that is simply suggesting that there seems to be a correlation between the two, so that potentially individuals that are prone to, say, drug use or prone to depression also seem likely to consume more energy drinks. So it's hard to say which direction that goes, but I suspect that's somewhere in the future in the study.
Now that the study is gaining some attention, researchers are calling for lower caffeine content in energy drinks and a possible ban for minors. For Spoke TV, I'm Steve Spar.
There's a lot of debate on how best to feed and care for your baby. We often hear breast is best, but is formula sometimes the right choice for new moms? Heather Mighton takes a deeper look.
So for the sake of all of us, it was just the best decision.
Though the mantra is known as breast is best, there are numerous reasons why a woman may choose not to breastfeed her child. Many studies have suggested that breastfeeding can boost a baby's immunity, improve their IQ, and even prevent cancer. But making this very personal decision isn't always so black and white. For many expectant mothers, making the decision between breastfeeding and formula feeding is not an easy one. But for full-time working mom, Becky Patton, the choice was relatively simple.
Primarily, I wanted to, but what factored into that decision as well was that I intended to go back to work after about 8 weeks, and my husband is doing the parental leave with our daughter. So in terms of thinking about whether or not breastfeeding would have been an option while I was working, it just didn't seem to really ever enter my mind as viable.
For others, like stay-at-home mom Andrea Blythe, the countless benefits of breastfeeding simply cannot be ignored.
Breast is best is what I've always thought. So I thought, first of all, about the well-being of my son, and then the cost obviously factored in, and convenience. I can't imagine waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and having to go downstairs, prep a bottle, all while your baby's screaming to be fed.
Every mother has a different set of expectations when it comes to deciding how to feed their baby.
Right?
As certified doula Rebecca Searle explains.
Supporting her baby. So it would always be, what are your goals, or what is the mom's goals in breastfeeding, and how can we make that happen? And that's also defining her own success.
Society seems to put such a great emphasis on the promotion of breastfeeding, as it is easy to scroll through internet search engines and find article after article and opinion after opinion supporting breastfeeding mothers. But what does this mean for mothers who choose to formula feed?
If that is she doesn't want to breastfeed, if that's because she has a medical reason, health concerns, medication, whatever it might be that she can't or does not want to breastfeed, then it's supporting her in making that decision.
Returning to work early seems to be a common reason among women who ultimately make the decision to formula feed. The convenience of choosing bottle over breast allows for the mother to have more freedom and for the baby to bond with dad or other family members through their feedings.
We find that because she's with both of us for various lengths of time, she doesn't have a preference of who she wants to be with. So we don't ever really feel like we need a break from her because we swap out, and she's pretty easy to manage and is happy with either of us taking care of her.
That is not to say that women cannot make the decision to breastfeed while returning to work soon after the birth of their baby. But do workplaces allow for ample opportunity to make a breastfeeding working mother a common reality?
We take for granted that everyone's going to take a year off, and that just isn't the case. Some people are self-employed, some people really need the income, and when they have to go back. There's lots of different circumstances. But I think what we don't realize is that in Ontario, we have a human right to have time to pump in a safe place and put our breast milk somewhere safely, or have someone bring our baby to us when we go back to work.
For new parents, determining whether breast or bottle feeding is the best choice will take both time and research. Awareness and open discussion will allow families to make the best decision for themselves.
As parents, you do the best that you can with what you know and what you have and what's available to you. And I don't think that women who formula feed should be criticized or critiqued for their choice, because they're doing what's best for their family.
Well, I guess what I think there needs to be is more of an open dialogue about it, and more people maybe admitting that they did choose formula, because I think people are afraid to say it.
For Spoke TV, I'm Heather Mighton.
March is the official month for colorectal awareness, and one Facebook group is raising awareness in a way that might attract artists, knitters, and sculptors alike.
Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of all cancer deaths for men and the third for women, and it is the third most diagnosed cancer. Colon cancer is one of the most preventable forms of cancer. The problem? People aren't aware. Members of the Regional Cancer Program and Grand River Hospital started the Build a Butt campaign, a fun way to get people talking about their butts. You can knit a butt, sew a butt, bake a butt, or make any kind of butt. Go to the Facebook contest page to post your butt picture.
And after the break, we look at one woman who is trying to change the lives of pigs. There is no arguing it's been a long winter. For homeless youth, the cold can be downright dangerous. But thanks to a new funding announcement, it should be easier for them to find shelter.
A local organization is receiving a grant from the cooperators. Kitchener's Reaching Our Outdoor Friends is getting the $20,000 grant. ROOF is an agency dedicated to helping young people in the region aged 12 to 25 who are at risk of homelessness. Each year, ROOF employs 42 young people and teaches them everything from resume building to attaining certifications. The grant was provided through the Community Economic Development Funds, which support community-based organizations across Canada.
It's a pig's life, and it's not a pretty one. Amary Nicolau talks with the Toronto Pig Save organizer Anita Kranz about the difference she is trying to make in the way animals are viewed.
On busy days, you might not notice the livestock transportation trucks, but Anita Kranz noticed them and decided to invite everybody to bear witness with her. Anita has been an animal rights activist since the early 90s. She became an activist and vegetarian right after watching a documentary called The Animals Film, which exposes the way humans use animals. Anita lives in Toronto and has a pig slaughterhouse in her neighborhood, which never got her attention until she adopted a dog, Mr. Bean. While walking her dog, the livestock transportation truck got her attention. The trucks were carrying a dozen pigs to the nearby slaughterhouse.
But once I adopted the dog, I saw the trucks, and I at the time I was reading Tolstoy, Ramakrishna, and a book on Gandhi. And what impressed me about them was when there was an injustice in their community, they they engaged in organizing. If there is an injustice in your community, you don't ask somebody else to do something. You have to do something yourself.
So in 2010, Anita created Toronto Pig Save, an organization that came to innovate as its form of activism. Until Toronto Pig Save was created, people only could see the dark side of the meat industry on TV, through documentaries or the news. The Toronto Pig Save vigils allowed people to see the goings-ons of the meat industry firsthand. The vigils are held weekly and allow people to look into the pigs' eyes and make a connection with them.
I was just so sad to see these innocent pigs pleading with their eyes and having fear in their eyes to be freed, like they're in this horrible truck. And that changed me forever.
It is also changing the life of other people like Ross Tapp. Ross used to work in a chicken slaughterhouse as a chicken hanger. For a long time, Ross used to see animals as a product. After 4 months working at the slaughterhouse, he decided to quit his job. It was the power of a Toronto Pig Save vigil that helped Ross to see animals differently.
My fellow Earthlings that should be treated with compassion and respect and not like commodities.
In only 3 years, Toronto Pig Save has inspired people from all over the country and overseas to start their own save movements. In Guelph, community members got together to start Guelph Pig Save in 2013, which also holds weekly vigils in front of slaughterhouses. At a local slaughterhouse, 14,000 pigs are slaughtered every week to attend the demand of the meat industry. Member of Guelph Pig Save, Ricky Mighton, explains what motivated them to start their organization.
Organizations like Toronto Pig Save, we get hands-on in that we get up close. It's a connection. You get to really connect with the animals and to look in their eyes and see them as individuals.
The president of Conestoga Meat Packers stated in a recent article that is not much what to do about the activists. That being said, Anita and her followers across Canada and overseas will continue the hard work.
My dream was to have a group that would be part of a grassroots movement where everybody can participate.
For Spoke TV, I'm Amary Nicolau.
The UN estimates that close to 900 million people in the world were suffering from malnourishment between 2010 and 2012. Brendan Zwambag takes a look at the potential solution to this crisis.
Mankind has hunted and gathered insects for thousands of years, and still do in some parts of the world. North America just hasn't adopted this practice, not yet at least. Renowned insect expert Lucy Edwards has worked to create a more positive relationship with bugs in Africa and calls the idea of insect farms revolutionary.
Insects are actually a highly productive way of producing protein for the diet. They'll eat almost anything. You need only a very, very small area in which to grow them. You can actually grow them within the city and then distribute them locally. So they become a really efficient kind of product.
Edwards believes that these small farms with minimal emissions and fodder may become accepted as the world population swells. But there's one thing standing in the way. Edwards says the biggest barrier here in North America is the ick factor. People have to get over the fact that they're actually eating a bug. And that is exactly what the Cambridge Butterfly Conservatory has been doing with their annual Bug Feast event. Public Relations Coordinator Julie Kuyak says that they have seen a spike in interest this year, but that not everyone is sold on the new meal.
People are really weirded out when they come here. You get a lot of squeamish people who don't want to try things, a lot of weird looks that we get because we are the ones eating bugs here.
For Spoke TV, I'm Brendan Zwambag.
Stay tuned, video game lovers. A PlayStation Classic is going to be coming back. The Summoner and the Blitzball player are returning to your console with HD graphics and brand new content from North America. The Book Thief, Mockingjay, Divergent, 50 Shades of Grey. These are just some of the many books that will become movies in the next few years. Sarah Schilling takes a look at why novels keep making it to the big screen.
With over 55 books making it to the big screen between 2013 and 2015, a lot of readers and moviegoers are showing mixed reactions to adaptations. There has been an influx of movie adaptations in the past several years, but this is something that's not new to the film industry. Many production companies are looking to young adult novels to turn a profit at the box office. Sharon Smith, coordinator of bibliographic services at the Kitchener Public Library, explains why young adult fiction is so popular.
Adults are appreciating the depth of storytelling that happens in both children's fiction as well as young adult fiction, and that translates then into blockbusters because you appeal to the masses.
But what makes Hollywood so attracted to these film adaptations? Associate Professor of English and Film Studies at Wilfrid Laurier University, Russell Kilbourne, explains.
Because Hollywood's always been a business, and therefore it's about avoiding risk as much as possible. You want to, if you're going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in one of these productions, you want to be sort of sure you're going to get some kind of a return on your investment.
And the numbers don't lie. The Harry Potter series, the Twilight Saga, and the Hunger Games trilogy together have made over $5 billion in revenue so far. For Spoke TV, I'm Sarah Schilling.
Gamers have something to look forward to with the HD re-release of a PlayStation classic, Final Fantasy X. Richard Keese tells us more about what has been improved since the original launch 10 years ago.
The first Final Fantasy game to debut on the PlayStation 2, and one of the long-running series fan favorites, Final Fantasy X has gotten high-definition remaster. Final Fantasy X follows the story of Tidus and Yuna, along with a motley crew of friends, as they strive to bring an end to a colossal monster known as Sin. Your party escorts Yuna to several temples across the land of Spira in order for her to obtain the power of godlike creatures known as Aeons, that she can use in her fight against Sin. The game uses traditional turn-based gameplay, meaning each character gets to attack and then has to wait through enemy actions before going again. Final Fantasy X was also the first game in the series to have voice acting.
This isn't a vacation, Yuna.
I guess you're right.
And fully 3D environments. The HD remaster comes with improved graphics, including both upgraded character models and cutscene animations, as well as refined backgrounds and shadowing. Final Fantasy X was originally released in 2001 in standard definition. It's the first game in the series to receive a direct sequel featuring the same characters. Both games will come packaged together on one Blu-ray disc for the PlayStation 3. This re-release will also give the North American markets access to content originally released only in the international version, including new boss battles and more extensive leveling options. For Spoke TV, I'm Richard Keast.
That's all we have for you this week. For Spoke TV from Conestoga College, I'm Kale Walters.
And I'm Kristen Van Eck. For more news and information, visit spoketv.ca.